I mean, no doubt enjoying it for a year collectively to get the 6 tries. What do you think improved to have that?
Yeah, I kind of touched on it after the Japan week that we were a bit frustrated that we've seen kind of what we can produce on the training pitch, and it was annoying to not be able to put it out there and under the bright lights. So it was really nice to kind of be able to do that on the big stage when it mattered on a Saturday. I think there's a couple of big moments in terms of some of the aerial battles we won back. They were big momentum swings, and then people just kind of grew into the game confidence-wise. Half time it was only 19-12, but felt like we were very much on top of them. So that was disappointing, but it was great to kind of pull away in that second half and get a bit more of a better result, I guess.
Like it sounded after the Japan game like you were confident it would get there. But when it happens, what does that create within a group coming into obviously another big game?
Yeah, because as I said, like we're coming in now this week, everyone's bouncing around, great mood around camp. It's just obviously we have the belief that we could do it, but obviously you have to kind of put it out there. And then once one or two people start doing it, then everyone else gets a little bit of confidence and feeds off that as well.
You've handled every kind of step up and challenge comfortably enough, it looks like. What do you anticipate on a personal level as a wing being different this weekend?
Yeah, we know they're obviously a very dangerous outfit, ranked number 1 in the world and obviously on great form at the moment. So they obviously kick a lot. I think they're averaging something like 36 kicks a game. So it's probably something that we're expecting there to come after us early. So a lot of work being done on that. And then obviously we just know that they're very good chasers. Colby and Arenza are very good at chasing the box kicks. So that's something we're doing a lot of work around, yeah.
David, do you think it helps this week, having been through the whole Chicago experience and having had this long time in camp, as you build up to such a huge challenge yourself personally?
Yeah, definitely. I think this is week 4, week 5 in camp. So yeah, you definitely feel well used to it and well kind of in with the guys. Obviously I hadn't played too much international rugby before, but now I've played the last 80 minutes, which is fantastic. And yeah, as you said, they've kind of been very different levels. We were obviously disappointed with our performance in Chicago, but the great thing about that was that it was the first game and we knew we had 3 games. And obviously then Japan was better, and then Australia obviously another level up, and we know it's going to have to be another step up again this week.
You almost feel like yourself and the team are almost going that same direction kind of slowly. Like it'd be fair to say you didn't get as many opportunities on the ball as you might have wanted in Chicago, but since then it's kind of trending this way slightly.
Yeah, I guess that's kind of a lot of the time as a winger. It's you want to go looking and searching for the ball, but sometimes when the team plays well, you end up looking very good as well, and there's opportunities created for you. But yeah, I obviously want to go looking for the ball, and when the team plays well, often then I'm going to end up getting the ball in space and hopefully being able to beat a few people and look good.
How does that work this week? Is always tough, having numberless backs, whatever. But South Africa is such a formidable challenge who have their own level of predictability. How do you just personally as a player, obviously within the system, but how do you tailor that kind of balance between kind of tramline, but also trying to search and look for stuff?
Yeah, I guess as an air of familiarity from playing in Leinster and kind of training against the defence that South Africa do regularly. So Jack Niedbar would have been the one implementing it. Now obviously he hasn't been there for a couple of years. There's a few little tweaks, but I think the basis of it is quite similar to what we do. So in that sense, it's quite good that year round in Leinster you're training against similar pictures to what we're thinking we're going to face this week. So in that sense, there's obviously a lot of line speed, a lot of pressure, guys protecting their inside shoulders. So it's just about knowing how you're going to beat that.
I mean, how much visualization do you do of high ball stuff in defence or attack?
Yeah, I would do a lot of it during the week, all right. Because obviously you're limited in the amount of practice you can do in terms of like when you're playing lots of 80 minutes and stuff like that. You want to try to keep your legs fresh. So definitely would do a lot of it, even just like throwing balls up as well, not being as high impact on your legs and just kind of seeing the ball into your hands. It's something we've talked about massively in here. Johnny's done a lot of work on it in terms of talking to past players, Rob Carney, Andrew Trimble, Andrew Conway, and then while he was down in Australia with the Lions. I think he's did a lot of work with some of the AFL clubs and stuff to try pick up as many little nuggets as he could. So he's kind of shared some of them with us, and we're kind of just working on trying to implement them as much as we can.
Tommy, has your job as a winger, say from 5 years ago, have you had to evolve with the changing roles that you've had to adapt to?
Yeah, I think it's probably as I've grown as a player, I've kind of become a bit more aware and try to add that to my game. Obviously, growing up, I was a bit more of a centre, so I would have always thought that I could be that kind of playmaker as well. So that's probably why the evolution of a winger has probably helped me in that sense, that it's not just out and out finishing on the edges. So you got to be able to pop up in the middle of the park, be those kind of second playmakers, and put people through holes as well.
James and Mac have just looked for that constant involvement in the match. Is that another aspect that you, or maybe you've always been like that, but as a centre you would have been involved anyway, but the winger can't just stay out there, you've got to get involved in the match. Is that something that's a bigger priority now?
Yeah, no, definitely. I would have always said it to myself as well. You want to try get as many touches on the ball. Coach Noel McNamara back in the day used to always say to us, if you get 2 touches on the ball, someone's going to score, and if you get 3 touches on the ball in a phase, you're going to be the one that scores. So it's just about kind of working off your wing, trying to create extra man, and then if you can keep the ball alive, you're attacking against disorganised defences, it can lead to great rewards.
Michael Murray.
Right, Harry. Just maybe talk to me a bit about the Springboks and your evolution as you were coming up as a rugby player, looking at them building the brand they have now. It's almost like an All Blacks aura, like they were always a top team, but winning the World Cup in 2019, winning in 23, you're looking on as a provincial player to be opponents on Saturday. But what is it about them? What's the aura of the Springboks over the last 6 years?
Yeah, I guess it's slightly different maybe to some of those All Black teams of 2011, 2015, where they seemed like they just didn't lose a game for 6 or 7 years, whatever. Whereas South Africa seemed to have gotten it right in terms of peaking at the right times for those World Cups. I've lost games in between, but I guess that's maybe down to some of the innovation they've tried to introduce. So you can see that with some of the benches they've used. They obviously have Esterhazy as hybrids. They were using the 7-1s and stuff like that. So they're not afraid to try a few things, and obviously that's something that's great, and we're obviously all keeping an eye on how they're innovating. But yeah, like the nuts and bolts of South African rugby, I think has always stayed the same. If they're hugely physical, they're going to work unbelievably hard. They're very passionate. So I think that's something that they still have 100%.
What do you make of their PR approach? Because when you speak to their players and management, they're not afraid to say that they're being treated harshly or that, and it's kind of interesting from us because we're very used to hearing people following the processes and going through all that. What do you make of how they approach their media and Razzie and his approach as well?
In terms of what you think the media is kind of they think the media is having a go at them?
Well, they don't really mind what they say. They will say that World Rugby are being unfair to them. Yesterday the coach said that they're not being treated fairly, and we're used to maybe the last few years of people saying we're just going to follow the process and go through the back channels and all that, but they're very open or honest in how they feel.
Yeah, I guess like it's kind of whatever suits you, I guess, in that sense. They're obviously happy to kind of create their own little tight camp, and if that's maybe something that they like doing, of kind of the media in the world's kind of against us, then whatever works for them, I guess. But yeah.
Thanks, Murray. And just jumping back to your kind of expanded skill set, you had that lovely grubber last weekend. I remember that kind of mad cross-field kick you did not too long ago. Is that something you've always had, or have you been working on that quietly, and how important is it for a wing?
Yeah, I think kind of, a kicking game in this day and age is so important. The grubber, I guess Lowy and Dan made it kind of a good outcome, obviously. So that's something we talk about as well in terms of any kick is only as good as its chase. So I was kind of saw Jorgensen being a little bit high, put it in behind, and then wasn't sure if it was the great option. And then Lowy and Dan made it the right option by kind of driving him over the line. And then I guess, it's just familiarity with some of the people and where you're expecting them to be. That one last year against Ulster, I guess you just know Dan's going to be hanging out in the wing looking for a try.
There. Tommy, do you feel like a settled international at this point? I know you started during the summer, but you've got a few caps since then. Do you feel comfortable in the green jersey now?
Yeah, like I've obviously loved and embraced any opportunity I've gotten. But yeah, they obviously were step up these November games compared to the summer. But I've felt like haven't felt out of place at all. Feel like it's where I belong, and feel like I can definitely contribute very well to the team.
A lot of troubles with injury early on in your career. Do you feel kind of, not maybe vindicated isn't the right word, but your work has been justified up to this point now?
Yeah, definitely. It's something I would have been one of the toughest parts of the injuries, is how I felt like I was kind of right on the precipice a couple of times, and how it would have just been kind of coaches and people in Leinster who would have seen what I could do, and hadn't just been able to put that out on display yet for other coaches and maybe here in Ireland to see, and obviously to get picked then for here. So that was kind of the tough thing when you feel like you're on the precipice. So it's been really nice now to be able to have outlasted it and get some reward.